Video games often sell themselves on the size of their open worlds, but there's big and then there's staggering. And when something's that big, there's tons of stuff hidden away to find. Hi folks, it's Falcon, and today on gameranx, 20 game worlds so big, you'll keep discovering secrets. Starting off with number 20, it's Elden Ring and its DLC. This is obvious, so let's get it out of the way. Elden Ring and its DLC aren't just open world games with some secrets sprinkled around. This thing has all the secrets in the world. It's almost more secret than not secret. Yeah, that's an exaggeration, but seriously, there's so many hidden things here. Huge chunks of the game map are hidden behind secrets in the main game, and the DLC's way more nuts. Like 3/4 of the game world is totally optional, with half of that area effectively being secret. Honestly, it's so much more than I would put in it, but these games have rabid fan bases, and they know that. They know secret-obsessed nutcases are playing these games, so they know all this stuff is gonna be discovered and carefully cataloged pretty much immediately, and that's exactly what happened. There's some absurd secrets in the base game. The DLC's even crazier. Like this sword you can swap between light and darkness using hidden altars. I can only scratch the surface, otherwise we'd just be here the whole day. But if you like secrets and big maps, Elden Ring has both. And number 19 is Morrowind. In sharp contrast to Elden Ring, Morrowind doesn't really have a map at all. When you get quests telling you to go to a dungeon or something, you can't pull up a map or follow a waypoint. You just gotta read the instructions and try to follow them to the location. It's much more obscured than your average open world RPG. With no map markers, it makes everything, and I mean everything off the beaten path, feel secret. Because who knows if you'll remember where anything is. It forces you to engage with the world in a completely different way than most RPGs, where it's easy to just turn your brain off and follow the breadcrumb trail. You can't do that here. And when there's actual secrets, they stand out even more. Morrowind has its fair share of Easter eggs and little references, but it also has some pretty hidden dungeons that can actually be really easy to miss. That isn't to say this game is as big or as complex as later Bethesda games, but the complete lack of direction makes Morrowind feel a lot bigger than it actually is. And when you find something, even if it's not technically secret, it's still extremely satisfying. At number 18 is Kingdom Come Deliverance. Mostly a story-focused RPG, not a full-blown exploration game, but that doesn't mean there still aren't a lot of secrets hidden around. Playing this game straight, you might notice a little joke or an item description here or there, but there's actually a whole world of hidden things to find. If you die, you can potentially lose a half hour of gameplay or more, so it encourages players to focus on quests where you don't really wander too far off track. But there are actually a pretty fair amount of weird things in the open world. Stuff like the witch's house from Hansel and Gretel. Or some crop circles hidden out of bounds. Lots of oddball stuff you wouldn't expect to see in a game that's trying to go for historical realism. It's also a game where you wouldn't think would be like a lot of secrets, but if you look close, there's a ton of crap hidden between the cracks, so to speak. And number 17 is Lunacid. This is an intentionally old-school dungeon crawler, directly inspired by King's Field, the From Software series that in many ways is the direct predecessor to the entire Souls genre. Those games were all about secret hunting, and Lunacid takes that design principle and runs with it. The game is set in a massive interconnected dungeon. You start at the top, you make your way to the bottom. Seems pretty straightforward at first, but there's so many little optional areas, secret paths, and hidden treasures. It just doesn't feel like a straight line, I guess is the best way to put it. There are some absolutely ridiculous secrets hidden in this game. There's multiple endings, entire secret areas hidden away with optional bosses and enemies. This thing has it all. It's less an open world and more of a sprawling maze, but the secrets are top-notch, and it's one of the strangest dungeon crawlers out there if you can look past the PS1-inspired visuals. Or maybe you even like the PS1-inspired visuals. It brings me a little bit of a sense of familiarity. And number 16 is Divinity Original Sin 2. When it comes to reactivity in an RPG, Larian, some of the best in the business, obviously. Their secrets aren't the sorts of things you would usually expect. There's some small hidden areas, a few optional fights here and there, but when you're talking about secrets in a Larian game, what people are really talking about is stuff like the unexpected outcomes for certain quests, or synergies between certain abilities and spells, stuff like that. There's way more secret mechanics than secret areas, and that's the stuff that makes their games stand out. An example, if you combine nails with shoes, you can walk over ice without slipping. Another crazy one, if you combine skill books, you can make new skills. Like if you combine the arrow spell book with a necro one, you learn vacuum skills. So you can keep that living room carpet nice and clean. There's a lot of other things you can do too. Using knowledge about how the game works to exploit encounters, get secret items off characters for doing surprising or unintuitive things. The game's full of little secrets like that most people overlook. And number 15 is the Gothic series. Pour one out for Piranha Bytes, another studio fallen victim to the slow-motion train wreck that is the Embracer Group. It's not like they're really doing their best work recently, but they'll always have my respect for the Gothic games, especially 1 and 2, which were doing something so different compared to many of the RPGs of that time. These games were merciless before Demon's Souls was even in development. You start out as a total nobody with basically nothing, and that's how you're treated for the majority of the game. These games can be very difficult and have a lot of secrets, but they're all very hard won. There's optional dungeons and hidden loot all over the place. They may not appear all that hidden compared to other games in this list, but when you're actually playing the game, anything that can give you an advantage is absolutely huge. This is one of those games where secrets aren't hunted for fun or glory. You're looking for them because you desperately need them. There are a few hidden things that are just for fun. Yes, that's true. Like an entire orc alphabet. You can translate runes to get clues about the environment. They're mostly nothing essential, but it's interesting that the devs bothered coming up with a whole alphabet at all. And number 14 is Red Dead Redemption 2. Now, Rockstars are kind of the masters of secrets in open world games, and Red Dead 2 is their masterpiece. The map is massive. There's so many little hidden things around it, it's super easy to miss, unless you already know where to look, kinda. What makes the secrets in Red Dead 2 stand out is the amount of effort that went into making them. All the secrets in this game have the production values of the main game. They're often special effects and new assets, cutscenes, motion captures, voice acting, the whole works. They are just some slapdash thing they threw in the last minute. They're essential parts of the experience.
Okay. Man, you all right? Ma'am? You okay, ma'am? Talk to me. I'm not gonna hurt you. Oh, shit!
I'm talking about stuff like the UFO cabin or the vampire. I mean, they're really easy to miss, but they're given the full Rockstar treatment. There's so many little secret interactions on this map, little side missions or events that can easily be missed. The game, I mean, if you would regard it as anything but super dense, I don't know what you're thinking. If you're not actively looking for them, they're all very easy to overlook too. And number 13 is Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Breath of the Wild, of course, has its fair share of secrets, but Tears really goes wild with hidden things. The addition of the sky and the underground managed to add so much mystery, even though the map is mostly the same. I mean, it's kind of 3 times the size almost in certain ways, but the normal ground is the same. The game really embraces the series' history, too. It's got hidden treasures all over the place to give you unique costumes that call back to previous games in the series. There's optional boss fights, hidden places, and I'm not even talking about the hidden gameplay mechanics, because that's another can of worms. The things people have managed to accomplish with the Ultra Hand are nuts. Tears of the Kingdom takes the map from Breath of the Wild, makes it more dense with stuff, and there's just secrets all over. Hell, the big reveal of the game is basically a secret. The game just loves secrets. At number 12 is Hollow Knight. There's two key things that make Hollow Knight stand out among Metroidvanias. First, map's of course gigantic, and unlike many games in the genre, it's actually legitimately very non-linear. For your first run, it might seem like there's a pretty clear golden path, but play the game again and there's so many different directions to go, and many, many secrets to find. There's your usual breakable walls and shadowy parts of the map to break through, but that's kid stuff. There's so much more. There's multiple hidden bosses, new zones, lots of little hidden bits of lore, all of it extremely easy to overlook. A lot of these secret areas serve no real purpose other than to bring you a room with some interesting background art or find some new tidbit of information about Hollow Nest. They're definitely inspired by From Software with the add-on content, because guess what? Just finding the entrance to new locations like the God Home, it's secret. It's hidden behind multiple breakable walls in a completely random part of the map, which, let me remind you, is gigantic. At number 11 is Enderal Forgotten Stories, Skyrim mod. Extremely impressive mod for Skyrim. Basically, just a game. I am not talking about Skyrim. I'm talking about a game. Skyrim's got a lot of secrets, yeah, but Enderal, this is legit. It takes the basic framework of Skyrim and makes something completely different from it. Sure, the combat mechanics and graphic assets are mostly the same, but the experience is very different. For one thing, the game is a lot more dangerous. Healing items are more rare. Enemies do not mess around. Even on standard difficulty, you're probably going to die a lot at the start of the game. Map size is actually smaller than Skyrim, but they use the space very efficiently. Dungeons are more tightly designed. Surprises and secrets are hidden all over the place. Towns have secrets to discover. The central city, in particular, has an entire undercity that's a massive maze of structures and corridors, all hiding secrets. It's a different kind of Skyrim, one that's more focused and difficult. It still has a sense of discovery and exploration, but it's a lot harder, which makes all your discoveries hard-fought and satisfying. And like I said, the map is technically smaller, but it feels bigger due to how much you end up really finding if you go looking. It's actually also very easy to play. Like, just search for the mod on Steam. Has a separate launcher. There's no real need to figure out mod load orders and crap like that. Just download it and start playing. It's nice. And number 10 is Fallout 3. For me, what makes Fallout 3 stand out compared to the rest of the series is its relative simplicity. Compared to Fallout 4 and New Vegas, there really aren't that many quests in the game. Not a lot of guided content. There's just a big map of the DC area, and you're free to explore it. There's a lot here that you're sort of just left to discover on your own. No missions that send you to a location, really. It's just there. You can explore it if you want. It gives the game a certain sense of discovery that isn't quite as strong in the other games. Stumbling upon places like the Bethesda offices or the Dunwich building, it was really effective in this game because you're not expecting it. It was the first 3D game in the series, the first one to go full open world, so nobody really knew what to expect. And when the game surprises you, wow, does it stick. The secrets in Fallout 3 aren't necessarily better than anything in later games, but with the nature of the game, it makes them more memorable. At number 9 is Dragon Age Inquisition. This game was big, with tons of optional areas and a whole lot of secrets to uncover. There's your traditional secrets like tucked away chests to uncover, hidden quests like the Sutherland and Company series, which was only unlocked after doing the War Table stuff that most people ignore. And then there's the Easter eggs in the Lord of the Pies hidden under Skyhold. There's so many Easter eggs, seriously. Look at this list. It keeps going. BioWare honestly really went wild with this one. If you enjoy secrets, there's so much to dig into. That's not even counting all the little secret events that are super obscure story segments that only happen if you did some pretty specific things in previous Dragon Age games. There's a lot of that, too. And number 8 is Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous, an RPG with some crazy secrets in it. It's one of those 100-hour behemoths just to finish, but even then you're kind of only scratching the surface. Sure, there's all the usual secrets and Easter eggs you expect in a big RPG like this. And like the first Pathfinder, there's a really arduous and complex path to finding the secret ending no one would find normally.
A mortal gnat snaps its jaws at the Lord of Locusts. Behold, Ione. Behold the death I sow.
And it doesn't stop there. There's 6 mythic paths, and only 2 of them are unlocked normally. Depending on the path you choose, the events of the game can play out very differently. 4 of these paths are optional and extremely easy to miss without knowing what you're getting into. Sure, some of these mythic paths don't change things all that much, but some of them do. Why are so many of them secret? And number 7 is Cyberpunk 2077. CD Projekt Red is another dev that just loves them Easter eggs. And Cyberpunk, stuffed full of them, like just absolute jam-packed. These things are frickin' everywhere, from little side quests to hidden jokes in the environment, and just bizarre stuff like putting a bridge baby from Death Stranding in a random level. This sort of thing is all over the place, both the main game and in the DLC. There's a secret gun you can only get if you beat the DLC a certain way, and only if you pick up a certain item that seems pointless at the time. The game is an Easter egg hunter's dream, honestly. That's probably why they went so nuts with the whole F06B5 secret that eventually was solved in Phantom Liberty. I'm not even going to attempt to explain that whole mess here. Just take my word, it's really complicated, and I have no idea how fans managed to figure it out. And number 6 is Xenoblade Chronicles 6, the newest entry in this series. It has the best content, period. What was mostly throwaway filler in previous games now are side missions with full stories, voice acting, new characters. A lot of them allow you to unlock new characters, and some of them are completely secret. Previous games had little hidden areas dotted around the map, but this game really embraces the idea with many secret areas that can be accessed using special abilities, many of which are not obtained in the story. Some of these areas are huge. They contain new content and extra missions on their own, and some are just beautiful spots to look at. With this game, they wanted to make the world a more satisfying place to explore. It's still relatively empty compared to the more dense open worlds out there, and there's not a lot of Easter eggs hidden around, but the secrets you do find are all very satisfying, and some of the best I've seen in a JRPG.
Eyes over here!
Thanks!
Uppercut, slap!
Extra! Butterfly blade!
Crack! Crack! Big impact!
Go!
I couldn't keep it intact! Wow, thanks! Then justice! Hammerhead! No!
Butterfly blade!
At number 5 is Bloodborne, mostly linear, and its overall size is absolutely dwarfed by Elden Ring, but the secrets in Bloodborne are some of the all-time greats. I'm talking about the stuff like Castle Cainhurst, a huge castle on a snowy island that's nothing like anything else in the game. This place isn't just optional, it's totally hidden, and you can get there by getting a special secret invitation, and even then, the actual way to the castle is not clear. Many of the best bosses in the game aren't just optional, they're completely hidden. To get to the boss of the upper cathedral ward, for example, you have to break a window and follow a secret path. If you really want to waste time secret hunting, people have spent hundreds of hours scourging the chalice dungeons for hidden things. It took years, but someone managed to find extremely rare and, frankly, a disgusting enemy called the Labyrinth Mole hidden in certain random dungeons. It's far from the biggest game on the list, but the secrets are so good, it has to get a mention. At number 4 is Assassin's Creed Valhalla, another one of those games that's probably a little too big for its own good, but it's got some really good secrets, and I'm not going to complain. Rather than having tons of quests like in AC Odyssey, this game elects to have smaller, more self-contained missions. A lot of them very goofy, or have Easter eggs and jokes in them. They're worth hunting down. There's also some secret bosses similar to the Berserkers in God of War Ragnarok that are just really fun fights. But the best secrets are the weapons. There's a good selection of secret weapons in this game. There's Thor's hammer hidden near the end of the game, the Excalibur, which is sort of a fancy precursor weapon, the most secret of them all, which is a bow, and nobody knew how to get it at first, so everybody just brute forced it. Out of all the Assassin's Creed games, this is probably the most secret heavy. There's tons of the usual collectibles, but it also just goes much bigger and more substantial.
Are you the sword the Britons call Excalibur?
And number 3 is Dragon's Dogma 2. Even though this game came out in 2024, it's intentionally old school in a lot of ways. Fast travel is expensive and difficult. Quests give you very little guidance, and there's a lot of stuff out in the world that you just have to discover for yourself. A lot of new monsters are just completely optional. The Sphinx, for example, is hidden away past a seemingly unrelated area. There are little secret interactions like catapults that you use to break rocks and reveal hidden paths.
'Tis easily done.
The sort of thing you wouldn't expect to find in a game. There's a ton of mechanics like this that are plain unexplained, like how you use Medusa's head to petrify enemies. That's obvious enough, but the faster you kill Medusa, the better condition the head is in, so the longer you can use it. There's little weird mechanics like that all over the place in this game. Kind of bizarre and also very intriguing. And number 2 is Dying Light 2, another developer that just loves Easter eggs. Dying Light 1 was full of them, and the sequel got even more. Most of the game's best secrets are reserved for the second half. That's when they're hiding time travelers, talking chickens, and Doom clones, among many other things. There's broomsticks to ride, hoverboard courses to try out, even a full-blown dev room to discover. Regardless of what you think about the actual game, the secrets are fantastic, and there's so many of them. They're not all winners, I'll say, but most of them are at least pretty entertaining, and the map's big enough that you'll probably not stumble into many of these on your own. You really have to look, and that makes them a secret. And finally, at number 1, it's Supraland. This open-world indie game, Metroidvania hybrid, loves secrets. They're absolutely everywhere, both in places you expect to find them and places you don't. The guy who made this thing gets gamers, because every time you feel like you're breaking the game or going out of bounds in a way that's not intended, surprise, there's a reward. They didn't just know people could get into these spots that normally seem impossible to reach. They expect people to do it. I love that. These games are heaven for secret hunters. They're all over the place. They're fun to find, and you get some pretty interesting rewards for finding them, like entire secret areas. Actually finding all this stuff is going to take a while, and you might feel like pulling your hair out trying to find it, but it's super satisfying. And that's all for today. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you think. If you like this video, click like. If you're not subscribed, now's a great time to do so. We upload brand new videos every day of the week. Best way to see them first is, of course, a subscription, so click subscribe. Don't forget to enable notifications. And as always, we thank you very much for watching this video. I'm Falcon. You can follow me on Twitter @FalconTheHero. We'll see you next time right here on gameranx.